Have you ever walked into an eyewear store just to get a lens replaced and walked out feeling like you got mugged? Think about it for a second. A pair of glasses is just a piece of plastic or metal, two lenses, and a couple of screws. There's no chip. There's no battery. There's no software. And yet, it costs about the same as a smartphone. While phones, TVs, and computers get better and cheaper over time, glasses stay exactly the same. And somehow, they keep getting more expensive. How does that even make sense? You walk into the store, you see a basic frame, and right next to it, a big name brand. The price difference between the two can be double, triple, sometimes even more. And it's not the glass that's different. It's not the metal that's different. It's not the lens that's different. What's different is a label. Hit subscribe and drop a like so you don't miss the rest of this, because from here on, things get a lot stranger. At first glance, everything looks normal. You walk into a store, you see 3 for different brands in the display case, and you think you're the one making the choice. Prada on one side, Ray-Ban on the other, Oakley in the corner, right next to a Chanel. Different brands, different owners, right? Wrong. Almost all of it comes out of the same factory, when you trace it back far enough. And this story starts a long way from the mall where you shop, in a small town called Agordo, in northern Italy, back in 1961. That's where a young guy named Leonardo Del Vecchio started out as an apprentice, working in a mold shop that made metal parts. And it was there, between one tool and the next, that he had a simple idea. Instead of outsourcing every step of making a pair of glasses, why not control the whole thing in-house? From the mold all the way to the shelf. That's where the concept was born, the one that decades later would turn into a machine of total market domination, the vertically integrated business. In the 80s, his company, Luxottica, started buying up everything in sight. A big name brand, a chain of stores, a distributor, it didn't matter. It was always the same playbook: buy it, absorb it, expand. In 1995, they picked up LensCrafters, and with it, the ability to sell straight to the customer, no middleman taking a cut along the way. In '99, they bought Ray-Ban, which at the time was struggling and fading out. And here's the clever part. Instead of lowering prices to bring the brand back, they did the opposite. They limited where you could even buy the glasses. They raised the price. And just like that, they turned a dying brand into something exclusive. The same playbook repeated itself in 2007, with the purchase of Oakley. After that came Sunglass Hut, to dominate sunglasses retail, and iMed, to break into the vision insurance market. Factory, distribution, retail store, insurance, all under one roof. In 2017, came the final move. The merger with Essilor, the world's biggest lens maker. That's how Essilor-Luxottica was born. Two companies that used to compete, one in frames, the other in lenses, became one single company. And just like that, the competition that was eating into both of their profit margins disappeared. And here's an interesting coincidence. That same month, the company also bought a major eyewear chain in Brazil, close to 1,000 stores across the country, for $117 million. It's the same move they'd already made here in the US years earlier, buying up Sunglass Hut to control the storefront, the one place where the customer actually hands over their money. This isn't luck. This isn't some random coincidence. It's pure strategy, by the competitor before it turns into a real threat. But I promise you, there's a much uglier side to this story. Today, this one group controls about 80% of the global luxury sunglasses market. Think about that for a second. Out of every 10 pairs of designer sunglasses sold on the planet, 8 of them, one way or another, run through the same company. And it also controls about 80% of the brands you'd recognize on the shelf: Ray-Ban, Oakley, Prada, Chanel, plus the retail chains where you've probably bought glasses yourself, like LensCrafters and Sunglass Hut. There's a name for that, and the name is the illusion of choice. You think you're comparing prices between competing brands. In reality, you're just walking between shelves that belong to the same owner, on the same side of the counter. And I'm not the one making this up. This isn't some internet conspiracy theory. Tim Wu, a law professor at Columbia University, pointed out something interesting. Products like laptops get better and cheaper every year, while glasses stay frozen in time, with surface-level innovation, and somehow still cost more each year. A study published in the Canadian Journal of Ophthalmology gets straight to the point. It names the lack of real competition as one of the main reasons prices never actually come down. Let's get to what really matters. How much of this comes straight out of your pocket, without you even noticing? A pair of glasses from this conglomerate can run you $200 out there. A brand that sells direct to consumer, without all that machinery behind it, sells a similar product for $95. Less than half the price. And no, that difference of over $100 isn't better technology, it isn't better materials, it isn't superior quality. It's margin. It's estimated that, for every pair sold by the industry giant, more than $160 is pure profit. Sit with that for a second. You're paying $200 for an object that, in raw materials and labor, costs a fraction of that. The cost to manufacture the frame and lens runs around $24 for the conglomerate. Compare that to $10 for a company that sells direct to the consumer, without paying a single cent in designer brand royalties. The math doesn't just happen to work out that way. It works out that way because it was designed exactly like that. And that brand selling for $95 has a name, Warby Parker. It was built specifically to kick down the door on this whole model. Instead of following the traditional path, full of middlemen and expensive licensing deals, they did the obvious thing nobody else was doing: design their own frames, negotiate directly with the factory, and sell straight to the customer, no retail chain in between. And they're not the only ones. Smaller brands around the world follow the same logic. Priscilla Anderson, an executive at the eyewear brand Ollie Quinn, has said that having their lens manufacturer based overseas lets them control every step of the process, without paying a single extra cent for brand licensing. And you see the same pattern play out internationally too: smaller independent labels sourcing straight from the factory, foreign or domestic, and delivering quality glasses without all that machinery running behind the scenes. They're not alone either. A whole handful of smaller brands are taking that same route, selling direct to opticians or straight to the customer, without depending on the big chain structure at all. Think about the journey your glasses take before they ever land on your face. They cost somewhere around $30 to $40 to actually produce. They leave the factory already carrying a built-in luxury brand royalty and a heavy marketing budget baked into the price. They land at the store, and on top of that, the retailer stacks on rent, staff, taxes, and their own profit margin. By the end of the line, something that cost $40 to make turns into $200, $300, or more in your hands. It's not a tax. It's not a shortage of raw materials. It's a business model. And when a competitor tries to break through that wall, things get even dirtier. David Gilboa, co-founder of Warby Parker, has publicly said that stores tied to the big conglomerate refuse to hand over one basic piece of information: your pupillary distance, the measurement between your pupils, which is essential data for getting prescription glasses made anywhere other than right there in their store. Without that number, you're stuck depending on whoever already controls the market. There's no way around it. Look at the full engineering behind this. First layer, the margin baked into every single pair, that $160 in profit I mentioned earlier. Second layer, control over information, like that pupillary distance number, which locks out the competition before they even get a fair shot at competing. Third layer, and this is the one that really stings, the accumulated hit to your wallet over time. If a family replaces their glasses every 2 or 3 years, and pays double what they'd pay somewhere without all this baked in, we're talking about hundreds of extra dollars, year after year, just to keep a brand and licensing structure running that delivers zero real benefit to your actual vision. And who benefits from all of this, structurally, beyond the conglomerate itself? The entire chain built around it, exclusive suppliers, the vision insurance company tied to the same group, and even part of the retail side that depends on distribution controlled by this one company just to keep existing. When the same company owns the factory, owns the store, and owns the insurance plan paying for your eye exam, nobody inside that machine has any real incentive to bring the price down. It doesn't need to be a formal cartel. It's an oligopoly, working exactly the way it was designed to work. And here's the worst part: all this engineering was never really about function. It's about status. The company's own founder always said he believed glasses should stop being just a tool and become a symbol of who you are. Nice words. Expensive bill for whoever's paying. But cracks started showing up in this empire. And they came from 3 different directions, almost at the same time. First front, a fine. In 2021, France's competition authority hit the group with a €125 million fine for price manipulation and restricting online sales. Second front, A lawsuit. In 2023, Turkey's competition authority opened a case, accusing the same group of dodging commitments it made during its own merger, combining its lens business and eye care equipment in a way that pushed competitors out of the game. Third front, a proposed law. Here in the US, a senator actually proposed regulation to give consumers more freedom to take their own prescription wherever they want, without being tied to the conglomerate's network. A fine, a lawsuit, and a proposed law don't fix the problem overnight. But they show something important. Regulators on different continents, independently, landed on the exact same suspicion. And the most symbolic crack came from inside the luxury world itself. In 2023, Bulgari, one of the most iconic names under the French fashion group LVMH, decided not to renew a contract with the eyewear giant that had lasted over 20 years. Instead, they moved their collection to Helios, LVMH's own in-house eyewear company, created specifically to end that dependency. And it wasn't just Bulgari. Dior, Fendi, and Celine followed the same path shortly after, moving their eyewear collections to that same in-house label. That's not a coincidence, it's a symptom. Even the brands that make a living selling exclusivity are tired of splitting the revenue with whoever controls the entire chain, from the mold all the way to the shelf. But there's a counterpoint to all of this, and it matters. Not every corner of the eyewear market works this way. While the giant brands fight over licensing and margin, a handful of brands, around the world and right here at home too, are proving in practice that you can sell good-looking, well-made glasses at a fair price without all that machinery behind them. They do basically the opposite of the giant's playbook. Instead of buying up the competition, they build their own designs. Instead of depending on a licensed brand name, they negotiate directly with the factory. Instead of pushing the price up, they compete on efficiency. The question was never whether glasses could be sold cheaper. The question is whether the companies that dominate the industry have any real interest in that happening. And there's an uncomfortable side effect to all of this, one you see every day if you've ever walked through a flea market or a sketchy corner of the internet. Research out of Brazil found that nearly 76% of consumers turn to counterfeit glasses specifically because of the inflated price of the originals. Sit with that for a second. 3 out of every 4 people buying knockoff glasses know they're committing a crime, and they still choose that risk over paying the built-in royalty and margin the official market charges. In other words, the very model built to protect the brand ends up pushing a huge chunk of consumers straight into illegal territory. It's not a stretch to say the price itself becomes fuel for the counterfeit market. And here in the US, the same pattern shows up, in flea markets, swap meets, and sketchy online sellers moving fake designer frames by the thousands. In the end, maybe the right question isn't why are glasses so expensive? Maybe the real question is this: how many other things you use every single day are hiding that same engineering? A handful of companies, dozens of brands on the shelf, and you footing the bill without ever really knowing who's actually profiting from it. It's not a conspiracy. It doesn't need to be. It just needs to be good business, by the competitor before they grow into a real threat. Control every step of the chain, and let the label do the work of convincing you that you're paying for quality, when really, you're paying for market position. A fine, a lawsuit, a luxury brand walking away to build its own house label. These are all signs of cracks, not collapse. The empire is still standing. The difference is, now you know exactly where to look. If this video opened your eyes to this kind of mechanism, drop a like and hit subscribe, because there's a lot more hidden markets like this one we've got to dig into around here. And next time you go to replace your glasses and the price makes 0 cents, remember, you're not just paying for a lens and a frame. You're paying to keep an entire empire running, from top to bottom.